The Week in Sports Talk with your hosts Mike Reeves, Matt Banks, and Greg Green Bay Bowman. Coming live from the Minuteman Press Studio, here's your hosts.
What up, everybody? We got an exciting show, episode 5 today. Here in just a few seconds, we're going to be calling a live special guest, Shaun Parker, the PA announcer for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we're excited to have him as our first interviewee. So how are you guys doing today? How's your drive in?
A lot better than last week when it's like I was going to take my tires off to put skates on. This was actually a lot nicer. Although there was an accident on my way in, not involving me.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's positive. I'm doing great. I'm just happy to be here. Happy for Shaun to join us today. Happy to get a lot of interest in being on the show in the coming weeks as well. So it's going to be lit.
All right. Well, let's give him a buzz and kick this off here. Shaun, how you doing? Welcome to Twist.
Hey, thank you so much, Mike. It's a pleasure. The gentleman of Twist.
Yeah, welcome, man.
Got a little intro for you. Here we go. There it is. Listen to that. So we got Shaun Parker with us. Again, he's the PA announcer for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They did announce that. When were you hired, Shaun?
It was October of 2017, so it's been a little bit over 2 years now.
Nice. So the hire followed
season.
It was an extensive search, over 400 interested applicants, correct?
That is correct, 400. And that is a humbling thing to think about. Anytime I'm behind the mic, I'm like, let me do exactly what they asked me to do because I know that there are 400 other people that want this job.
Yeah, no kidding. And you were I remember last season you were going live on Facebook a bunch. Are you doing that this year?
I've stepped back on that just a little bit. We have one of the new NBA rules with the coaches' challenges and everything. So we now have a courtside administrator that is at every game. So we have an extra person at the table. Space is just a little bit tight.
Yeah.
And I like to spread out a little bit when I'm doing those videos. But I'll do a couple of more videos before the season's over.
So why don't you give us just a little background on yourself, and then we'll get into some questions.
All right, awesome. So I'm originally from the Washington, D.C. area, grew up in the suburbs in Maryland, went to the University of Maryland, studied journalism, wanted to be a sports anchor when I was younger, decided to get out of it, decided a few years ago I wanted to jump back into sports, and I said, you know what, PA announcing seems like something that's cool, so I started volunteering at a local high school in Montgomery County, Maryland. Met my best friend there. He was a former coach and is now a professional DJ. And I got a couple of hookups. I started making some connections. Met the then PA announcer for the Washington Wizards.
Oh, nice.
He got me hooked up with a couple of jobs. I ended up at George Washington University, a small Division I school. I ended up doing 6 sports there. Wow. Ironically, basketball was not one of them. I was a backup for basketball there. But while I was at GW, just wanted to see, where my skill set was compared to other announcers and whatnot. So I periodically looked to see if there were any pro teams in any sport that had auditions. Just so happened the Minnesota Timberwolves had an audition. I emailed them. They had a slot open. I decided, since I'd never been to Minnesota before, I'd fly up here and just see where I shook out. And 3 rounds and 400 people later, they picked me. And I was just absolutely blown away by that and decided, you know what, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. So I packed up, moved up here, and the rest, as they say, is history.
That's awesome, Shaun.
Yeah, howl away. That is awesome.
So you can find Shaun Parker on Twitter at Main Event Voice and his YouTube channel, Shaun Parker, Shaun with a W. So let's kick it off.
Don't forget the Instagram, Main Event Voice as well.
That's right. Twitter and Insta I got here. So at Main Event Voice. So let's kick it off with some questions. Benz, why don't you start with one of yours there?
Sure. So Shaun, growing up in the DC area, what team was your favorite?
So I was a Washington Wizards. Well, let me date myself. I was a Washington Bullets, then
Sure.
Washington Wizards fan. So I grew up, with the Muggsy Bogueses and the Manute
Yes.
Bowles and late in his career, Bernard Kings of the world. Really liked them. I also was a Lakers fan. I mean, I think everybody in the country that was my age was either a Lakers or a Celtics fan.
Sure.
So I really liked the Lakers. But yeah, the Bullets, that was my squad. So I, as a fan, have known frustration over the years. But I've really been an NBA fan my whole life.
Excellent.
So my next one, you kind of touched on in your intro, but I'll just slide in with the Wizards part. Did you ever go watch Jordan then when he was there, get to meet him, anything like that?
I never got to meet him. Saw him once. Went to a Bulls game once, and he was his typical airness that day. I forget how many points, but he always seemed to do his thing against us. Even though we did have the Bullets did have a guard. I don't know if y'all remember Darrell Walker. And Darrell Walker always seemed to, I'm not going to say have Jordan's number, but he was able to keep Jordan in check and make him look relatively human. So I did enjoy watching him play against Jordan because, Jordan didn't embarrass him as much as he embarrassed a lot of other people.
Nice.
Great. Hey, Shaun, thanks. I'm the Wisconsin contingent to this show, so this is kind of a loaded question for you. But what is the most difficult name you've ever had to pronounce over the loudspeaker?
Wow, the most difficult.
And I'm asking the question mainly because I've had so many people have difficulty saying the name Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay, and it's funny, and I have a quick Giannis story in terms of his name, as a matter of fact. So the toughest thing, I honestly don't remember what the specific name was, but I remembered when I was at George Washington, one of the sports that I did was volleyball, and I absolutely loved calling volleyball. Yeah. And I remember George Washington played a match against American University, crosstown team, and American University, half of their roster was Eastern European.
Oh, great.
I was supposed to look at the roster that had like 8 or 9, like 15-letter names. And I looked at that roster and I said, where's the SID? I need help with this. The only time in my life that I was like, I need help with these names. Because there were just a whole lot of Eastern European names. But for the most part, I think just about any PA announcer that you talk to, they love names like that. They love the multi-syllabic names that they can just roll and flourish. And Antetokounmpo is one that I absolutely love. And the Antetokounmpo story. So we were playing the Bucks. And I was sitting there, and Dave Benz, who was our wonderful TV play-by-play guy for FSN, he comes over to me at halftime, and he said, "Shaun, how are you pronouncing Giannis's name?" And I said, Antetokounmpo. And he looks at me, and he goes, Antetokounmpo. And at first, I wasn't picking up the difference. And he said it again. He was like, Antetokounmpo. And he said, I talked to him earlier today, and that's how he pronounces his name. I said, you know what? Antetokounmpo it is. So anytime Dave Benz comes over and gives me a correction, I'm like, hey, you're the TV play-by-play guy. You know I go off of what you say. And so I had to make that slight adjustment. But, no, his name is an awesome name that I love saying, even though I don't get to say it over the top like I do with our names.
Sure.
All I get to do is just a nice low-key Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo. Is that right?
Antetokounmpo.
We'll leave that to you, Shaun. Benz, you got another question?
All right. So my second question for you, Shaun, is going to be, what is your favorite pastime hobby?
Favorite pastime hobby?
Hogs.
Wow, because I do so much stuff. You know what? One of the things that I do, I have a bunch of stuff that I do because I'm a professional DJ on the side and have my full-time job. But I love doing play-by-play. I do freelance play-by-play on the side. So I do play-by-play for our women's professional football team, the Minnesota Vixens, which if you have not seen them play, they are a very good team. They are one of the top teams in the country. So I do play-by-play for them and thoroughly enjoy that. And I also do play-by-play for professional wrestling, and that is extremely fun.
That's awesome.
Who's the head coach for the Vixen?
Ryan McCauley.
So a couple of years ago, there was a guy who went to Burnsville, and I can't top of my mind remember his name, but I swear he was the head coach probably 3 years ago.
They recently, about 6 years ago, had new ownership, and I know Laura Brown, who is the co-owner, along with her husband James. She was on the sideline for a couple of years. There was another coach, I can't recall his name, but yeah, Ryan McCauley is the coach now in his second season, and he really has them playing a great brand of football. Again, if you have not seen them, check them out. Season starts in April. So right around the end of the Timberwolves regular season. And it's a fun day. It's a fun day of football.
So you mentioned wrestling. Do you have a favorite wrestler of all time?
You know what? I'd be hard pressed to go against Ric Flair. I mean,
woo!
Woo! Exactly. I gravitate. A lot of wrestling fans, they gravitate toward, guys for specific reasons. A lot of people like the heels, because they do all the cool stuff. I gravitate toward the guys that can talk, the guys that are really great on the mic. So Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, those guys that can just, turn a phrase and have 20,000 people in the palm of their hand. That's a skill. That is a skill, and that's a skill that I really respect. People ask me, do you get nervous when you're in Target Center, when you're, getting ready to do a game? And I'm like, no. I look up at the crowd and I'm like, hey, I'm ready. Let's do this. Yeah. It's very exciting. Very exciting. And, the fans are awesome. Every fan interaction I've had has been so positive, and even though I did have a couple of longtime fans said, when you first started out, we didn't like you. Rod Johnson had that job for 21 years, and we were used to Rod's style. Yeah. And here you come in, and I'm a little more over the top than Rod was, and they're like, yeah, it took us a few games to get used to you, but yeah, we like you now. So I got the seal of approval from the longtime fans. So I'm good with that, and I'll run with it.
Nice. Yeah, I was a VWO Wolfpack guy.
Okay.
NWO.
NWO. I'm in the VWO. So yeah, NWO Wolfpack. Greg, you got another one?
There was a VWO. Well, there was a VWO. So it's the Blue World Order.
Oh, that's right.
But
yeah.
That's right, with the blue meaning.
Yep.
Yes.
My question, Shaun, is the three of us have gone to a bunch of games recently, and since Mike started reaching out to you, I was kind of focusing on your role. I'm curious, do you have any say when you're announcing the starting lineup for the Timberwolves, do you have any say in whether or not you're announcing them with their college, a nickname? Because you're very unique in each of the 5 guys. So I'm curious if you have a say in that.
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, I have complete carte blanche in terms of those starting lineups and what I say for them. As a matter of fact, little known secret, I actually have a starting lineup script for every person on the roster. So not just the normal 5. Because you never know when somebody is going to get inserted into the starting lineup.
Especially
so
lately.
I have a sheet, and every single person on that roster has a unique little pitchy starting lineup announcement that I do for them. And I'll run it by my boss. I'll be like, hey, this is what I have written for these guys. And they normally take a look at it and say, okay, that's cool. Or if they want me to do a little twist, a little tweak or something, I'll do that. For the most part, that's all me.
Great.
Excellent. I'll go again. Here we go. So, Shaun, do you have different techniques or delivery when you're announcing different sports?
Yeah. When you're doing NBA, of course, you can be over the top. You can be a homer. So as you have heard, whenever I am announcing our starting lineup or when I am announcing one of our baskets, I am just completely over the top. Carl Anthony Towns, and just kind of go off with it. When the other team is, scores a basket, James. My best friend is a big Lakers fan. And he absolutely hates it when I announce, one of LeBron James's baskets or something, and I'll just go, James. And he'll ask me every now and then, hey, what if Rondo, has this just ridiculous, between the legs, behind the back pass, alley-oop to LeBron, and he throws it down with 2 hands and just rocks the rim. What are you going to say? And I'll go, James. That's all they get. It's all the love they get. But for basketball, you can go over the top. If you're doing college, you can still be a homer, but just not quite as over the top. They appreciate a little more sportsmanship. On the high school level, you have to be even a little more neutral when you're doing games because the National High School Federation, they have specific rules about being neutral and not being a homer. So you just have to kind of know what setting you're in and then just adjust yourself accordingly. But, yeah, doing the NBA, it's basically no rules. As long as you're not being profane, you can just kind of go off.
Right on.
So something kind of fun going on tonight at the Target Center. Benz and I are actually going to be going. I'm a huge LeBron fan. I've never had the opportunity to see him live. So when I was called with an opportunity to go see his son for the first time, I was pumped. Are you going to be involved in that game at all?
No, I have nothing to do with that one. Unfortunately, I'll probably end up watching it on TV. The weekends, if I don't have anything scheduled, I try to make myself available for my fiance so we can.
Congratulations on that.
Time with her. So we're going to be doing grocery shopping and all of the domestic stuff today. But I will try to catch the game. No, hopefully, one of these days I'll get to get involved in something like that. It should be a real blast. And, to have a second generation James getting this close to the NBA, that's kind of scary for everybody.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, we have Shaun Parker, the PA announcer of the Minnesota Timberwolves on. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at Main Event Voice and his YouTube channel, Shaun Parker with a W. So when I talked to Shaun last week, I asked him if he would be the judge of a contest between the three of us, and it would only be right that it would be a little PA announcing. So we're not going to get into the actual players. We're just going to get the preview. And I do have a song lined up so we can get all jacked and ready to do it.
You're going first.
No, we're going down the
Right.
line. So, Shaun, you ready to judge?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right, so we'll start with Ben's here.
Oh, sure. Yep.
So we'll go Matt, and then Mike, and then Green Bay Greg. So let's get the music going.
All right, Wolves fans, let me hear you. Get on your feet and howl along at your starting lineup. Get up, get up, get up.
All right.
That's right. Shaun, let me know if you ever need somebody to fill in. All right, bud?
All right.
All right. That that was actually not bad. That was kind of going more toward the in-arena host. So the hype guy, that sounded more like his script.
I
But
like
not
that.
bad.
All right, here we go.
I'll take it.
Hide the women and children because the Wolves are loose. Introducing your starting lineup for your Minnesota Timberwolves.
All right. All right.
You put a lot of thought in it.
Yeah, I typed it up and wrote it out. So,
You're scaring the kids.
yeah, hide them. The Wolves are loose.
That was good. Good volume, good energy. Leader in the clubhouse so far.
All right, Greg, you're up. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, start flossing, start dabbing, do the nay-nay, whatever you got to do, but get on your feet and start howling because here they are, your starting five.
All right, there was Greg. So we had Matt,
All right.
and then Mike, and then Greg. So what are you thinking here, Shaun?
Oh, wow. I mean, all of them were good. Good volume, good energy. I think I am going with Mike.
Oh,
Of course.
Woo!
We'll let him have that one. He'll be talking about this for
Oh.
He'll
years to
probably,
come.
he'll probably get another ring for this.
Yep.
Well, Shaun, we appreciate you having us on. This was awesome. So I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, thank you so much. Anytime you need the main event voice, the main event voice is here for you. And remember, when you see the bow tie, it's showtime.
There it is.
Yes.
Thanks, Shaun. We'll talk to you.
All right, now, take care, guys.
Beautiful.
That was awesome. Again, that was Shaun Parker, who just announced the winner of the PA battle. Sir Miking.
There
All
it
right.
is.
That was great.
Excellent.
That was great. So next up, we had a little giveaway with Fan HQ last week for a signed autographed Luis Ariz baseball. So as promised, we're going to give the caller a little ring, see if they answer, and announce it live on the show. So let me pull it up here. We'll give it a call and give it a try.
Did you actually dial it?
No.
It'd be funny if my phone started ringing.
Ethan says he liked it too. So thanks, Ethan.
Thanks for the support. They're going to have a great voicemail to listen to. I'll tell you that right now.
Please leave your message for
Kevin Malika.
Kevin, you got Mike, Matt, and Green Bay Greg here with Twist, the weekend sports talk. You are our winner for the signed, autographed Luis Ariz baseball. So to pick up your ball, you're going to head to Fan HQ, Ridgedale Mall in Minnetonka. So if you have any questions, you can call there and talk to Shaun, or you can call the Twist line back. So congratulations.
Woo! Congrats. There you go. Beautiful.
Awesome.
right.
So thanks to Fan HQ for that fun giveaway. That was good. So let's kick it off with some headlines.
Nay.
All right. Beautiful. All right. So our headlines for the week, guys. We got the Gophers rolling past Auburn 30-24 to win the Outback Bowl. What a game. What a W. What a season. Some stats from that game. Tyler Johnson was the Outback MVP. 12 receptions, 204 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Woo! All right, and with those 2 touchdowns, he did break Ron Johnson's receiving touchdown record. So that's awesome to cap off his career as a Gopher and on to the draft for him. Then you got Mo Ibrahim, who rushed for 140 yards on 20 carries and a touchdown. The Gophers' offense put up 31 points, 215 rushing yards, and 279 passing yards against a Tiger defense that came into the game allowing an average of 18.6 points, 115 rushing yards, and 208 passing yards per game. So, way to go, Gophers. On to the second headline. We have Ski-U-Mah. There it is. Second headline, Ohio State loses to Clemson, 29-23. Trevor Lawrence led the team with 107 rushing yards and 1 touchdown on 16 carries. And then he also threw 2 touchdowns for 259 yards. Justin Fields, on the other hand, threw for 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, and 320 yards. So you can see right there those 2 interceptions were critical. Also, Dobbins, who most likely will be one of the top backs off the board this year, rushed for 174 yards and a touchdown. Now going on to the big game in the headlines, LSU rolls Oklahoma 63-28. Go ahead and listen to this stat line for Mr. Joe Burrow. We have 493 yards passing, 7 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Go ahead.
We suck.
I love it. That is a crazy line. Also, you have his wide receiver, 14 receptions for Justin Jefferson, 227 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. Look for him to go off the board in the first round as well. And then you got Thaddeus Moss, 4 receptions for 99 and a touchdown. So straight cash homie that.
Mm-hmm.
And then last headline is obviously the national championship will be on the 13th at 7 p.m. That will be LSU against Clemson. So those are my headlines for this week.
Thanks, Benz. Well, I think the biggest one you missed was Wisconsin lost.
Yeah,
so,
I just didn't even want to give them the time of day.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Okay.
New segment we have is On This Day in Sports, January 4th. 1887, Thomas Stevens is the first man to bicycle around the world, San Fran to San Fran. You think you could do that?
No.
Me neither.
I don't care how much time you give me. I wouldn't do it.
Shakopee to Burnsville.
I'd have a tough time doing that.
In 1920, the first black baseball league, the National Negro Baseball League, was organized. In 2000, Tom Fears, College and Pro Hall of Fame DN coach, NFL champ of the LA Rams, dies at 77. And one we all know, 2015, Stuart Scott, ESPN analyst, dies of cancer at age 49 on this day in sports.
It's that I can say I gave it a spin ahead. I mean, every week, so, and maybe it means an interception on 4th and 18 when you're down 10, because I don't care that it's going to say 2 interceptions. I really don't. It's just like I ain't quitting. So I think that doing it with so many guys over 14 years and going to the locker room, win or lose, and I can say, thank God, we're short. We fell short, or we won. But shoot, I couldn't tried any harder.
So the Chargers have a tough decision to make this offseason. They can either give it one more go or start life after Phillip Rivers, as they are set to embark on a new journey in their new stadium. So Phillip Rivers, does he stay or does he go?
I think that what you're going to see is I think that they're going to sign him to – I think it's going to be a one-year type deal, or, it's going to be like a Tom Brady type thing where it's going to be 2 years, but actually it's 1 year. They're going to draft his successor. I think he's that type of guy. His wife, I think, is pregnant with their 9th child.
50th.
So he's got plenty to do, but he is one of the ultimate good guys in football. I really like him, and I love that clip that you used because it personifies him. He's willing to take a chance, doesn't care what the stat line says, which is why having his receivers are great to have for fantasy purposes because he never feels they're out of a game.
Yeah.
They can be down by 21 points with 3 minutes, and he's going to be throwing the ball deep. So he's just one of the really good guys. I hope he goes one more year and actually mentors his successor. That's what I hope for.
Sure. I think that he may actually be moving on, depending. I mean, I do like the Colts. I think that they're really in the bargain for him just because their head coach, Frank Wright, was quarterbacks coach to Rivers and always referred to Phillip as the smartest guy. So that right there, just having that relationship, I do like the Colts. Also, depending on what Jameis Winston does as well, having the Bucks in that talk as well. Those are the two teams that I would most likely keep an eye on.
Well, I think he's gone. You got that feel all year long that he's just kind of playing his last one out. I don't think he's done by any means. Like Ben said, the Colts, the Titans, Rivers would join a team with a solid running game, young playmaker, especially A.J. Brown, breakout year. Yeah. The Panthers still don't really know what they're doing. They don't have a head coach as of yet. The Bears would be a scary one for me, depending on, have they guaranteed him that he's going to coach next year? Are they still kind of waiting?
That's just it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So depending on if they go with a new regime, I think if I come into the Bears and Trubisky is not my guy.
Yeah.
And then again, the Raiders, I think Carr has been told he's probably going to be the guy. I think they will draft. But the fun thing is the Chargers have the 6th pick in the draft. So from their needs, going from number 5 down to number 1, I have their number 5 need at defensive tackle, a guy that Minnesota just played in the bowl game, Derek Brown from Auburn, is a top 5 pick. He'd be right there for them. Their number 4 need cornerback, Christian Fulton. Fulton is a number 1 quarterback, traits, size, experience in a top conference. Number 3 would be quarterback, and this one obviously is what we're talking about. I really think, you bring Tua in at 6. As you said, you bring in a guy and Phillip mentors them. They have Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you bring in Tua, and you have Tyrod. I mean, the Chargers love Tyrod Taylor. Yeah. Phillip almost got benched numerous times throughout the year, or at least we heard about it.
Yeah.
So I think you draft Tua, who's coming off an injury, and you have Tyrod started off. And I'd say probably by week 4, Tua's in and healthy again. Number 2 need receiver, CeeDee Lamb is my number 1 guy there. Yeah.
Yeah, monster. I cannot wait for this draft. This draft is going to be
It's going to be good. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. We did kind of touch a little bit on the coaches. So let's talk about the coaching carousel. Oh, we had a few fired, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, fired. We had one that nothing was done.
He decided to not come back.
So what we're obviously talking about, Jason Garrett with the Cowboys. And what I think is the funniest thing about this whole thing is Jason Garrett was on his last year. And the owner, Jerry Jones, actually said 6 weeks ago that he knows that Jason Garrett is good enough of a coach and will be coaching in the NFL next year. He was literally the only person on the planet who could guarantee that statement be true, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think that Jerry Jones is a joke. I think that he's going to try to find someone else that he can use as his puppet. And I think that Jason Garrett is going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere next year and be really successful. And then in 3, 4, 5 years from now, be another head coach. I think the most interesting thing to look at is what are the Browns going to do this year? You're looking at McCarthy. If McCarthy comes, being a Packer fan, obviously I understand this, is he's going to want the GM role too.
Yeah, he'll want it all.
And I think now that they fired Dorsey, it's kind of like a sign that they're looking at the McCarthy type guy. So, but I'm curious if Lincoln Riley, any of these college guys are going to come out.
Or Urban.
I
mean, that's his state.
Yeah.
That would really pump me up. I think he's the sleeper there. I don't really know necessarily if he wants to get right back in, especially at the NFL level. But, I mean, even Stefanski.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there last year.
He was their runner-up.
Yep, the runner-up. And a lot of guys really liked him, but Dorsey had the last call, and Dorsey decided to take Kitchens. So.
Here's actually what I heard a lot. Now, you guys might get upset with me. Is I heard that after this season, the Cowboys might actually try to get Zimmer and give draft picks for him, and then Stefanski would just move into the Vikings, into that role with the Vikings. So that was one of the most interesting things that I heard, because it's not talked about because there's no vacant head coaching position.
Sure. And I think it really comes down to tomorrow's matchup. I mean, how that goes really will deflect. I mean, because how the fan base is here, I love Zim, but I also do see consistency in not going to that next level. So you never know.
So, the firings were Freddie Kitchens of the Browns. Kitchens was fired December 29th. Hours after the loss in a 2-4 Bengals team. Pat Shurmur, ex-Viking, now an ex-Giant. Ron Rivera, slashed by the Panthers, but then hired by the Redskins, who they also brought Jack Del Rio in as their defensive coordinator. And then, as we talked about, Jason Garrett. So best positions or best coaches available for each slot. You touched on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
I heard the Giants are going after him.
That doesn't surprise me either.
New York's market.
It doesn't surprise me that the teams like the Giants, the Browns, that have been kind of going through this lull for a couple of years would bring in a guy with NFL experience versus a team like, like the Redskins are going to go after, the Rivera. It's just it seems like right now that the trend now isn't to that next young 30-year-old.
Next McVay.
It's who's the seasoned guy that we can trust.
Sure.
Well, the Cardinals didn't go that route. They brought in, what's his nuts from what's its place?
What's his name? Cardinals new coach.
Oh I don't know who
they went on that trend, and I think
Kingsbury.
Cliff.
Who's like 10 years younger than me.
KK.
Yeah.
So I think you are right. From a Browns or Giants, they're not going to take that Hail Mary on necessarily a college coach unless it's Urban Meyer.
Or Lincoln Riley.
But Lincoln Riley to the Cowboys, I think, is the biggest thing. That they do want Zim because their defense is really what let them down this year. They have the number one passing offense and rated offense all year, so that you bring in a Zimmer-type coach to solidify a young, good defense.
Sure.
But to me, you just get a good defensive coordinator. You bring in Lincoln Riley for the Cowboys. He's flashy. He's that name. That's what Jerry Jones wants to do.
Another couple names that I heard was Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator for the Saints. Leslie Frazier, of course we know Leslie, Bill's defensive coordinator. Rule, who is the Baylor head coach in college, and then Josh McDaniels, who every year his name's brought up, and every year he turns it down because he's hoping to stay on the hook with the Patriots once Belichick steps away. But will he get tired of waiting? So,
a big sleeper I had, Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, I saw that name.
So he was the Cardinals offensive coordinator last year. Yeah. He stepped into that same position for the Bucks. What did I have here? Limited coach. So the Buccaneers offense was the best in franchise history under his tutelage. Sure. It finished top 5 in scoring for the first time ever, and Winston's 5,000 passing yards were 8th most in a season in NFL history. And you don't even think about that with Jameis. All you think about is, 30 touchdowns and 30 picks.
Yeah.
But to throw for over 5,000 yards, that's the potential people have seen in him, and that's why he's going to be asking for about $30 million mil per interception.
And right along that vein, too, you got Kellen Moore, who's sitting at the Cowboys. Yeah.
Looks like he's 12 years old.
Yeah, correct. But it's an easy swap. They liked how the offense ruled, but like you were saying, they do need defensive help and defensive-minded coaching. So that's that.
Well, we've been doing NFL pick'ems every week. Greg's been keeping tally, coming up with the picks. I'm interested to see where we were at. I rewatched the episode, and I told you last week I was pissed after I went first and picked Houston, and I knew it. I called it. I said, this is going to be one I don't get, which I didn't. So where are we at in our –
All right, after the regular season, 17 weeks, right now we have – Sir Mikey in the lead with 16, closely behind Matt with 13, and making a huge jump after last week. I'm in third place with 12, so it's 16, 13, 12.
Did you go from 8 to 12?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'd like to thank the Packers for winning on my behalf, but yet not covering.
Yeah.
Because you guys took the cover. All right, so going forward for the next couple weeks, what we're going to do is we're just going to pick every playoff game. So there's 4 games this week. We've been doing 5. The first week we did all the games. So we kind of broke it down. First game we have is Bills against the Texans. The Texans are 3-point favorites. Who do you guys like?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm taking the Bills.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I will go with the Texans.
I will also go with the Texans.
Yeah. Oh, they're trying to creep up on me.
Yep.
Trying to creep up on me.
I'm just going with the Texans simply because you got experience at the quarterback position.
There is one obvious reason why to go with the Texans. Yeah. Justin James Watt will be playing this week.
Okay.
All right. Next game, Titans versus the Patriots. The Patriots are 5-point favorites. That, for those of you at home, that's -5 for the Patriots. So, Matthew, you want to start this one?
Sure.
Okay.
This will be my upset of the week.
Okay.
Well, one of the upsets of the week. So I will go with the Titans to win this game.
Taking the points.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with the Patriots. This just seems like the type of game where Bill Belichick's going to remind everyone that he's Bill Belichick.
That is correct.
Yeah, you don't mess with Belichick at Gillette. First one, Patriots.
Do you know, how about this? Who was the last quarterback to beat Brady at Gillette?
Peyton Manning.
Neither. Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
I thought you were going to say Joe Webb. Like
that would have been awesome.
The Webinator.
Incorrect.
All right. The next game we got going on here is why they build buildings with all these lights in Vegas. This is the most interesting number I've ever seen for a playoff game in the first round. Vikings at the Saints. Saints are 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That is an interesting number. I'm starting it off.
Go ahead.
I was going back and forth on this game. I think 7.5 points is a lot for a playoff game, but I'm going to take the Saints. This screams the Vikings trying to play catch up, and then then Drew Brees just saying F it, and then throwing another one. So I'm going to take the Saints. I'll give you the points.
This is how we score.
To the Super Bowl. Oh, oh.
I'm guessing that means you're going to take the Vikes? Since you didn't last week, I got that one.
Yeah.
I covered the spread.
Yeah.
That was crap.
Yeah.
Matthew, who do you got?
I got the Vikes. I think the Vikes will end up – you ready for this? They will end up winning by a last-second field goal to break the curse. That you heard it here first.
There it
folks.
is.
All right.
Twist, Benz, the week in sports. He's calling it.
All right, last up because I'm going to have to go vomit here in a second.
I got the Vikes?
He took the Vikes too.
Just with
that was a trick I did to go first on that one because I knew you guys would go against me. All right, we got the Eagles and the Seahawks Seahawks 1.5 point favorites. I love that. You just have a whole soundboard of things to insult Greg.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
The Greg Insultinator is what I like to call it.
Nice. Eagles at Seahawks. I'm sorry. Seahawks at the Eagles. It is a home game for the Eagles.
Yeah.
The Seahawks are 1.5 point favorites.
Sure.
I'm going with the Seahawks.
Of course.
Sea Chickens.
Yep. I'll go with Russ.
I will as well.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
All right. That
So
is your picks for this week.
Nice. So a day in the life. Get to know your hosts on a different level. Best of, worst of, day of the week. Gregors?
No, let's go with Matt first.
Let's go with
Sure,
Matt.
I'll start. And my, we'll say funny story is actually this morning. So for those of you that don't know, I am a bread guy. I am a bread route delivery driver. And this morning I proceeded to go to one of my stops and got a bunch of stacks because they're all on stacks. I got 7 stacks off the truck and was waiting politely for the employee of this grocery store to open up. It was about 3 a.m. and I had to go to the bathroom badly, like Mike Reeves badly. Yeah, incorrect. And I'm sitting there waiting, anxious, trying to get in. I have all this bread that I've taken off the truck, but I'm not going to make it. So I leave the bread in front of this store unattended, get back into my truck, drive down the block, go to Holiday. He shoots, he scores, get back, and my bread was still there. So praise God for that one. That is my day in the life of.
All right, Greg.
All right, I'll go with last night for Christmas from my employer. Got a gift card, which is one of those gift cards where you can use at one of 6 different places, couple restaurants, couple stores. And I decided to take my my significant other, my better 2/3, out to dinner at Red Lobster. She's a big seafood, big crab fan. So we were going out to dinner, and any dinner out with the one you love is a great dinner.
Sure.
What made it better, and I'm just giving a plug out there. We went to Red Lobster in Bloomington. Angus, our waiter, was amazing. Mm-hmm. Abby said to him at the end, "Oh, could I have a bag for our extra, cheesy biscuits?" He came and gave us another 6, which we didn't ask for, but that was just the type of guy he was. So I recommend tall guy.
Angus.
Which lobster?
The one in Bloomington, right on Penn and American Boulevard. But it was a great experience. Any time out is a great time, but when you can have your wait staff make it that much better, totally worth it.
So we got some people who've been tuning in. We got Ethan, Shaun Alexander. Let's see here. Shaun was trying to win that baseball. He didn't answer the phone, so I'm not.
Former first round pick of the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Got Jimmy.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Gandalf.
Jimmy's
There he
watching. Mike Steen was on. Matt,
Beautiful.
Ryan, Tony, quite a bit. So a day in the life with Greg, day in the life with me. So mine was a little sorrow. My oldest daughter, middle oldest, lives in Illinois. So last Tuesday we meet in the Dells. Had to bring her back. Had a great trip, but always sad to see her go. So a day in the life with your hosts.
All right. Right now, what we're going in, the next segment that we're going to go into is a player to watch, and the player I have picked for who to watch is pretty obvious for those in this general market. Every NFL quarterback that considers themselves a franchise type quarterback has some cloud over them, and it's something they have to overcome. Some of them never have to, because, for instance, my example is Tom Brady. The question around him is, can he win without Bill Belichick? Well, he may never have to actually answer that question. Then you have Russell Wilson and Drew Brees. Can they win the big one being 5'10"? Well, the big question mark that lingers over Kirk Cousins is he worth, not the dollar amount, but is he worth the first fully guaranteed contract in the history of the NFL? Now, the joke around Minnesota is there's only two people's salaries that you know, your own and Kirk Cousins, $84 million, 3 years.
I've never heard that joke.
Well, it's a joke that I like to tell a lot. So my point is, this is a great opportunity. Tomorrow's game for the Minnesota Vikings goes along with a team in the 6th spot that wins the Super Bowl. I'm not saying them specifically. There's teams that have done it. My point is, can Kirk Cousins actually play? I don't even think he needs to win. I think that if he plays a game where he stays in punch for punch with Drew Brees, I think that Minnesota fans will be inspired going into next year. If he pulls a dud like he did against the Packers, then they're going to wonder, was he worth half of that guaranteed? Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think he's already worth it, just based on how he has carried the team this year. I mean, he makes the throws. You can see it, though, in the games where he has shit the bed, pardon my French,
wow,
is that literally that's what he's done. In those games, you can totally see it, how frantic he is, how out of sorts he is, and those are usually later in the day games. You know, he's such a structured individual that I have faith in him at the nooner. I think indoors, better yet, I have faith in Kirk.
Is he worth the first fully guaranteed contract in NFL history? The answer is yes, because quarterbacks like him don't hit the market. There's never an opportunity to get a Kirk Cousins. Is he Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees? No, but is he a top flight quarterback who I believe threw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns 3 consecutive years in a row before coming here? So quarterbacks like that don't hit the streets. And when they do, you pay them. And the Vikings don't have a history of doing that. Any Minnesota sports teams don't have a history of doing that. Yeah. So is he the flashiest or the best? No, but he is one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. And when he has time, he has shown that he's worth every penny. So we don't have any other resources. Shaun Mannion, do we have a draft? You know, our draft will be at the end of the first round. I think you're all in with him until the wheels fall off, and then you go with the new plan. So I'm definitely all on board with Kirk.
All right.
Beautiful.
Lately I've been drifting aimlessly.
So what to watch on the tube this evening? Like I said earlier, Benzino and I are going to be at the Target Center with no Sean Parker, but with Bronny James, with Zaire Wade, with Jalen Suggs. So we're going to be sitting back and watching that. But Gregors, you're going to be at home with the channel surfing machine in your hand.
Yep.
What are you going to click into?
I'm watching NFL football. I'm watching the playoffs. I'm excited for this. Because since we started, the idea for this show and then doing the show, I've really been focusing on a lot of teams, and I'm really excited to not only see, the Bills play in the playoffs, but see how the Titans do. Tannehill is, one of the least talked about but amazing players this year, and I'm really curious if he can, slay the dragon.
Yeah,
and that's the night game tonight, and I'm really, because you got Henry running the ball. I'm really excited for that game.
Yeah, right on.
Well, that was a fun episode. Thanks again to Sean Parker for being on. Next week, we have another interview with Eric Nordquist.
Nordo!
From K-Fan. So we're excited about that. Thank you for all tuning in. Episode 5 of Twist. See you next week.